You know what that music means? It's about that time for another show. Welcome to the Sports Beat with Richard Holdridge, presented by Georgia Alabama Sports Live. Happy to be here back on Facebook Live. Don't forget you can subscribe to the podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, or wherever you get your podcasts. I'm excited about my next guest. I've had him on the show before. He has a very successful podcast from Daily Wire Sports called Crain and Company. Just one of the most recognizable sports personalities. He's funny, he's got a lot of knowledge, and he really tells it like it is. I am so pleased to welcome Jake Crain from Crain and Company here on the Sports Feed. Jake, welcome back.
Man, well, first off, thanks for that introduction. I really appreciate it. Man, I need to have you talk to my wife. It's like I say on the show, maybe I can get more make her be able to agree with me more. But no, it's always fun to come on with you, my friend. Obviously, you know the level of respect I have for you, and I tell you, every time I come on here, that intro music, man, it's fresh. It like gets me going. It's like upbeat enough where it gets you going, but you know, I'm not over here fist pumping on the Jersey Shore, so it's I like it. It's a good vibe.
All right, Jake. A lot of sporting events happening. First of all, it's a big night in the WNBA. You got NBA playoffs going on. You got the PGA Championship, the Preakness. I mean, this is really my favorite time. I mean, I know that every month has its sports that we all love. And when we talk about March and March Madness, April opening day, but I like this just because. You know, we also have the NFL schedule released. There's just so much going on. But, Jake, we're going to start with the NBA because I know that the star power from the past is not there in the second round. Like, no LeBron, no Joel Embiid, no KD. But you still have the champs. By the way, I thought they were done after trailing 2-0 to Minnesota. But you never count out the champs. The Celtics are hobbled, but I think because of the injuries to the Knicks, and I just don't think the Pacers are right there yet. I think that the Celtics are probably going to waltz their way to the NBA Finals. But in your opinion, what does the landscape of the NBA look so far here in the second round?
Well, you know what? I think we're kind of having a passing of the guard, obviously, in the NBA. When you look at the stars that are kind of leaving, the ones that are emerging, and the ones that, you know, not only have gotten to the top, but have stayed at the top, like Jokic. And you see what Jason Tatum's done, even though, you know, he hadn't gotten over that final hump yet. But yeah, as far as Kevin Durant, I mean, you look at LeBron. I know he's still playing at a pretty high level, but eventually that's going to end. You know, the Bronny situation's a totally different one. But I'll tell you, even without the mega star power, right, not to say that there isn't some stars that are still playing. There are. I think the basketball's been really good. You know, we were having a debate on the show yesterday. Is there in another sport, is there a bigger gap in the quality of play between the playoffs and the regular season than in the NBA? And I don't think there is. I mean, we're looking at physical games. You're having guys doing the garbage type things. You're not having as much flopping. We've had some big time shots. So look, the NBA, to me, it's got to disassociate from some of these narratives that it has and just put a good product out on the court. And I think that's what we've been getting. But as far as the Nuggets, look, they've done this song and dance before, right? You know, experience is the unteachable intangible. We talk about this in football all the time. You can have all the skill, all the athleticism, all the talent, but until you experience it, right, you don't really know how to react to every situation. It seems like the Nuggets, they don't get too high, they don't get too low. And really, and Richard, you know this, not to be too long-winded, but sometimes when you go on the road, the pressure's off a little bit. It felt like not just because Minnesota was up 2 games, but that they were having to go and defend their home turf. It kind of takes the pressure off it in a weird way. Now, I want to play every big game at home, but I think the playoffs has been fantastic. But, yeah, I mean, the Celtics minus Porzingis, who I think is going to be back, the Knicks are just the walking window right now. It's an attrition 10 over there. But either way, I don't see this ending in any other form or fashion other than obviously who comes out of the Nuggets and the Timberwolves series and then the Celtics out of the East.
All right. Well, let's go ahead and talk about the draft lottery. By the way, I wasn't a fan of it being on Sunday because I had no idea the Hawks won the number one pick until I looked down at my phone. And the buzz in Atlanta is kind of mixed because there are some Hawks fans. I live in Georgia, so the Hawks fans that are optimistic, like myself, think that all they need is another All Star to play along with Trae Young and Dejounte Murray. There's a brand of Hawks fans that think, oh, blow it up, trade Trae Young, trade Dejounte Murray, and start over, or even trade the first round pick. There's even been some crazies out there that said, well, we should draft Bronny James because Bron could come to Atlanta. But I'm a realist. I think that you go get Alex Sarr. He is going to be an all-star. I think that he's got the best potential to be an all-star, and I think that's the missing piece that the
Mhm.
Atlanta Hawks need. But what do you think the Atlanta Hawks need to do with that number one pick?
Well, the good news is they can't draft Michael Penix Jr., so that's off the table. They can't, that and again, we talked about that a lot on Crain and Company. But to me, look, again, the market, you can only get what the market bears, right? I don't think LeBron's the answer. If you're legitimately trying to win, or you're legitimately trying to build something that can last over time, and we've seen a lot of teams in the NBA have won NBA titles by drafting, maybe making a trade here or there, but using that core group of guys. You go back and look at the Warriors. I can go down the list, the Bucks, teams that have been able to win it by kind of growing the talent and keeping that identity. When I look at what the Hawks can do, first off, it's a good position to be in. You'd much rather be in this position than not, to be able to have that first pick to kind of hang over people. But I don't know how you don't get Alex Sarr. He's 7'1". He can move incredibly. It seems like the guys that have come in from Europe, whether that be Rudy Gobert, that's a rim protector, or a guy that can come shoot, they make ball players pretty good over there. And I think he's an NBA All-Star. The Trae Young question is a bigger one to me. I think I know who your number one pick should be. It's what do you do with Trae Young? What type of value can you get with him or Murray? And at the end of the day, when you look at the free agent pool that's out there, outside of LeBron, who are you really trying to go get? So I don't think they'd be crazy to take the Frenchman with the first pick, keep him with Trae Young, try and keep some of that core together, and see if he can't be the missing piece.
Absolutely. And I don't know how much this is going to get popular, but I personally do feel it's opening night in the WNBA. In the past, I really didn't think too much highly of the WNBA. I mean, it really wasn't a league that was marketed as properly as it should, but I really think that Caitlin Clark is a game changer. Like Tiger Woods, like Michael Jordan, she has changed the face of women's college basketball. And I personally think that the WNBA is going to have some really good ratings in the beginning, but it might drop off. I mean, what do you think the impact of Caitlin Clark opening night in the WNBA is going to draw the casual sports fan to the screen?
Well, look, the question isn't it's not, are people going to watch early? I think you'll have some people that watch it early just to see. Is there staying power? Like right when the question gets answered, and you should know it decently quick, is Caitlin Clark going to ball like she did in college at this level? I think she's going to be a well above average player. But once that question gets answered, whether it's yes or no, if it's no, I don't think you're going to see any huge bump. If it's yes, I think you'll see a bump. I just don't know how long it's going to last. At the end of the day, I'm more worried about the WNBA, screwing Caitlin Clark up more than anybody. It seems like everybody else in that league has something negative to say about her. She really just goes about her business. Yes, she talks a little trash on the court, but who doesn't? So I think if the WNBA would embrace her, or maybe Caitlin Clark's the villain we never knew we needed. Maybe she's Harvey Dent. You think she's here to help the city, help the league, and then all of a sudden, you turn her into the villain. Maybe that's the role. Maybe that'll bring more eyes. I don't know. I don't think they're playing 4D chess, but no, it's going to be interesting. And just the fact that it's interesting, Richard, is a step up from what it was.
All right, Jake, let's switch gears and let's talk about one of the most favorite days in the offseason I really look forward to, and that's the NFL schedule release. I mean, they're starting to just give a hint on what games are coming. We got the opening
Mm-hmm.
game between the Chiefs and the Ravens, the first Monday night game between the 49ers and the Jets. They're really hyping that up. Aaron Rodgers going back to the Bay Area. I
Yeah.
mean, there's a lot of storylines that, the schedulers are going to make this entertaining. And you got Kirk Cousins going back to Minnesota. I mean, What do you look forward to about the NFL schedule release, and really what is going to be expected when it comes to some of the primetime games that they're trying to
Yeah.
feature?
Well, as far as the NFL schedule goes, you do have a good idea, and you mentioned this of who they're going to be playing, right? Divisionally who they're going to be playing home and away, but it's kind of how it's structured. When it is. We're seeing some get sprinkled out in college too, like Alabama, Wisconsin is going to be played at 11, and Georgia, Clemson is going to be played at noon, which a lot of people aren't thrilled about. But to me, I view it as a kind of a milestone as we're getting closer to the season. You have the draft, right? And then you have the schedule release. It is another step closer to what we love most, and that's kickoff. And again, I'm not trying to hate on the USFL or any of that. I'll watch it, but just like I like regular Coca-Cola better than I like Coca-Cola Zero Sugar, I'll drink it if I have to, but I don't want to if I don't have to. So I think, again, it's another step to what I believe the greatest sports season of all time, and that is true football season, college, and then obviously the NFL kicks off right after that. And Richard, may I make a point? I'm trying to get this back in the news around this time of year. Can we stop using the term week zero? Like, can we stop using that term? It doesn't exist. Like, they'll hype it up week zero. No, there is no week zero. It's like when people say, "Oh, we're pre-boarding." No, you're not. You're just the first people to board. Or like patient zero. It's not nobody. That's the first patient. I don't know why we play these games. Does it really matter? Yes, to me it does, Richard, and I don't know why. But no, there is no such thing as week zero. I just want to get that out there.
Oh yeah, you make a good point. I do have an opinion on the college football schedule. I believe that Georgia playing Clemson at noon is that's absolutely wrong. Same with Alabama, Wisconsin.
Agreed.
Yeah,
Agreed. Why do we
absolutely
play
agree.
again? Does the games at noon and the games at 11 should be the appetizers? The entree shouldn't come out until at least 2:30 p.m. Central Time. You can talk me into that one. But at noon, no. And that isn't to say that you're not going to be able to guess every big time matchup that's going to happen as the season goes on. There's always surprises, good and bad. But and sometimes, networks get to pick which games. But the fact we're already announcing like Bama, Wisconsin's playing at 11, for real, at 11, the only people that are excited about that are the people that sell Bloody Mary mix and orange juice and cheap champagne. Those are the only people that are excited about that.
All right, Jake. Let's go ahead and talk about a little bit about the NHL playoffs. It goes on at the same time as the NBA playoffs, and
Mm-hmm.
I had to go into the history book. We've never had a city win an NBA title and a Stanley Cup in the same calendar year. We got four cities that could capably do that. I know Boston's in a little bit of trouble. They're down 3-1 to the Florida Panthers, but I do think that the Dallas Stars, if the Dallas Mavericks get hot, I think that Dallas could be a city that the Mavericks and the Dallas Stars could win championships. But do you think the casual sports fan would want to see this a clean sweep of a sports city that wins an NBA title and an NHL title as well in the same year?
I think it'd be kind of a cool story. I mean, we've seen this in college a couple times. I think Florida did it in football and basketball in the same year. I believe that's right. I'm trying to remember when it's happened before
Yeah,
that.
it was like
But yeah,
2006.
yeah, but talking about Dallas, if the Dallas Mavericks Stars don't start playing better, pun intended, then they're going to be watching the Dallas Stars as they continue to march toward the Stanley Cup. No, listen, and as a guy that grew up, look, I'm from Lee County, I'm from Auburn, Alabama, right there from a hop, skip, and a jump from y'all there in Columbus. Been over there many a times, played a travel ball tournament over there many a times. But hockey wasn't big for me growing up. And ever since I moved to Nashville and I went to a Preds game, I love it. It's fantastic. And once you understand it, deep down, if you like football, give yourself a chance to go to an NHL game. And it doesn't even have to be like a playoff game or something like that. I think it may change your mind a little bit. So I've really enjoyed being able to cover it. On that note, look, hockey, I think it's the least advantage when you're at home of any of all the sports, because it's hard for the crowd because the puck changes hands so quickly. It's not like football or not even like basketball. They don't even know when to be quiet, when to be loud. They just scream the whole time. But no, look, the Panthers, you knew they weren't going to panic. against the Rangers the other night. They were able to come back and score those 3 goals in the third period. They've actually been outscored on their own power play, yet they somehow found a way to win that game. That just shows you what experience does as well. But no, Boston better figure it out, and they better figure it out quick. Are they going to be pushed out? I think the Celtics have a much better chance, but I'm just rooting for all the games to go to 7th.
All right, Jacob, my final point is that this weekend is the PGA Championship. I'm a big golf fan when it comes to the majors. Scotty Scheffler won the Masters. He is the odds-on favorite to win the PGA Championship. And if he does, the whole sports world will talk about how Scotty Scheffler could entertain the idea of winning the Grand Slam. Rory McIlroy has been in the news of recent. But in your mind, who do you think has the best odds to win the PGA Championship, and who do you want to see win the PGA Championship?
Oh, I'm going with Chef Boy R3, Scotty Scheffler. I mean, he is just insanely hot. I mean, that's the obvious answer. I want to be cool. I want to be like, oh, Tommy Fleetwood's going to win it. But right now, the way Scotty's playing, I mean, it should look so easy. It's amazing how easy all these guys make it look. But it just seems like, his control mentally obviously is something you got to have in every sport, but in golf, it feels magnified times a million. But he's able to get himself out of trouble too, right? We talk about the nuggets, never too high, never too low. Chef kind of plays that way. So he's not going to go out there and be the best looking guy in a golf outfit, like he just got hopped off the bench press, but he's going to go out there and saute it, just sauce it up. Oops, I made a 4. Oh, here goes, rip off 3 or 4 threes in a row. So I got to go with the Chef. But look, these guys are all so talented. There's so many good young guys still that are coming up right now. I wouldn't be surprised by anything.
Jake, it's always a pleasure having you here on the Sports Beat. I just enjoy your sports insight, your sports knowledge, and you always keep it interesting. And I love your show, Crain and Company. I listen to it every chance I get. Before I let you go, just tell everybody how they could listen to your show, Crain and Company, and how they could follow you on social media.
Yeah, definitely. Well, if you like old school sports shows, we do one with me, my brother, and David Cohn. I'm the guy in the middle that's always right. Just don't forget that one, and you'll be okay. But no, in all honesty, you can find us. We're on YouTube, we're on Apple Podcasts, Spotify. It's Crain and Company, CRAIN and Company. We've been going live each weekday morning, 6:30 a.m. to 8 a.m. Central, but starting next Monday, so what's today, Tuesday, the 19th or the 20th, whatever Monday that is, we're going to start going at 2 p.m. Central. Really excited about that. We have live calls and a live chat. So, it's getting closer to football season. Come hang out with us.
All right. That's Jake Crain from Crain and Company. Thank you so much for being a guest here on the Sports Beat.
Anytime, brother. Shout out Columbus.
Right. I appreciate that shout out to Columbus. All right, that's it. That's our show. Thank you, everybody, for listening. We're going to go ahead and take a break, and we'll come back with some more show here on the Sports Beat with Richard Holdridge, presented by